Hey, welcome to Too Many Gadgets. So today I'm testing this really cool robot vacuum cleaner from Xiaomi. This is the Dreame Bot L10 Pro. So in the last part of 2020 and now here in 2021, we are seeing a new generation of robot vacuum cleaners. We're seeing manufacturers using cameras and AI to do better obstacle avoidance, better sort of mapping and prediction about how the vacuum cleaner should go about your home. Dreame is a part of the whole Xiaomi empire and have been doing a lot of things that I've been testing through the years, and now they sent me this bot L10 Pro for me to test. So without further ado, let's look at how the unboxing experience is and the specifications of this device. The L10 weighs just below 4 kilos. It has a 5200 mAh battery, which will give you runtimes of up to 150 minutes before needing to charge. Should it need to charge during cleaning, it will resume where it left off. The noise level is rated at 65 decibels. The dust compartment has a capacity of 570 milliliters. It uses a combination of LiDAR and other sensors to make intelligent navigation and obstacle avoidance. It will cover a house of up to 250 square meters. It has sensors below to make sure it doesn't fall off steps. The suction level is rated at 4000 PA. In comparison, the S6 Pure is rated at 2000 and the S6 VMAX at 2500. It has a sensor to detect if it's running on carpets to increase the suction strength. The water tank has a capacity of 270 milliliters. Through the app, you can designate rooms or areas you want to clean, and it also has support for virtual no-go zones or no-mop areas. So lots and lots of features, but let's get it going, and for that we need to do the setup through the app. You need the Mi Home app to set the robot vacuum cleaner up, and within that you hit the top right corner, the plus sign, go to the Home Appliances category and scroll down to the robot vacuum sections where you'll find the Dreame Bot L10 Pro. To start the setup process, you need to hold two buttons on the actual device for it to expose a Wi-Fi point that we will connect to. Now within the app you select the network within your house that you want the device to connect to after we have done the setup process. Find the actual device within your Wi-Fi settings, and that makes it connect to the Wi-Fi network you just selected. Once that is in place, we can now choose which room that it will be grouped within, and also which name you want it to have. After the setup, I recommend you go to check if there is a firmware update. So I've been testing this vacuum cleaner out for a while, using both the combination of just vacuuming part and then also vacuuming and using the wet mop attachment. So let me show you how it's been doing that in my home. The L10 Pro makes good use of all its sensors. It uses that to map out your house and to make sure that it runs in effective patterns, which will typically be straight lines, which is very evident when you are also using the wet mop attachment. This also makes it go faster because it doesn't necessarily cover the same area more than once unless you specifically want it to do so. The sensors make it able to hook to the wall, also avoiding any obstacle that it detects on the way. In the app, you can track the progress of it mapping out your house, which you will use at a later stage if you want to target specific rooms or areas you want to clean in your house. It has no problems entering small doorways like you can see here. And using again the sensors, it doesn't scratch the floor panels because it's so good at mapping out exactly where it needs to turn, so not just to bump into stuff. Here you'll notice the different noise level with the 4 levels. As you see here, the wet mop attachment module looks slightly different than what we've seen on the other comparable devices, and this is because this is electronically controlled. To use the wet mop, you just fill the tank with water. Make sure you close it up. And I also recommend that you slightly moisten the cloth before putting it on the wet mop attachment. You then slide the cloth into the groove, and the Velcro will then attach and make sure it sits nicely. Then you just slide the attachment under the vacuum unit and it'd be good to go. So this is a small obstacle avoidance course I made to test out the front camera really and the AI behind avoiding stuff, and looks how it doesn't just bump into stuff but actually avoids both the small power plug I have and the shoe that I also put. The keys, like you will see here now, it didn't handle perfect, but again, yeah, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. And again, once it's done, it'll find the dock and just recharge. So it's good to go once you need it again. To get the full experience, you need to do a little bit of tweaking within the app. Let me just show you how you do that. Inside the app, you will need to go into map management and then name one of your maps. You can have more maps. Again, this could be if you have multiple floors within your house. Inside the app has already sort of tagged some of the areas that it thinks are rooms, but you can then sort of work on top of that and split them into more rooms should you need to, and you can also combine 2 rooms to make it into one within the app. You don't need to, but you can actually then tag the different rooms and give them specific names. By doing so, we have the option to tag specific rooms that we would want to clean if we didn't want to clean the entire house. And this is what I'm showing now. You also have the option to set up a virtual wall or a no-go zone. By doing so, even though there is no divider physical within a room, you can say that it will never be allowed to cross this line that you are then entering into the map. You also have an option to map out a mobbing no-go zone should you want to do that. Inside the settings, it's very important that you turn on the 3D high precision obstacle avoidance to make use of the camera on the front of the device. You can set how loud the speaker is once it's running and the messages that it says, and also the language that it uses. I encourage you to turn on the carpet boost to make sure you get extra capacity once it detects that it's running on a carpet. The other settings are pretty much set per default, so you don't need to do much there. In cleaning mode, like shown earlier, you have 4 options of how much suction power you want to, and again, that affects the noise level. You can also define how much water is expensed once it's running. There's a pretty sophisticated scheduling option where you can define times per day or per week or whatever you want, where you can either clean the entire house or you can mark out specific rooms that you want to clean. And you can also define, which cleaning mode it runs in, and if you are using the wet mop, how much water is being dispensed. You have precise tracking on when you need to clean or change some of the accessories or filters. You do have the option to remote control it through the app. That's pretty much a gimmick, but you can actually do it if you want to chase your cat. To keep this device running, you need to do a little bit of maintenance ever so often. Let me just show you how that's done, how to clean it and make sure that everything is running smoothly. By turning the device upside down and opening this small latch, you can actually clean the main brush. To help you out with this, there is a small tool just in front of the dust compartment that you can use to clean out the device. To empty the dust compartment, you just take it out and open it like so. On the back side of the dust compartment, there is a filter that can be cleaned and can be changed should you need to. It's fairly cheap to get a replacement. So first and foremost, thanks to Dreame for sending me this device to test. It's really been an interesting test period with this really feature-packed little thing. Let's talk about price. So it costs right now $350 on AliExpress, including shipping, and that is an amazing price if you look at all of the features that you get. I'll leave a link in the description field should any of you want to buy it or have a closer look at all of the features and descriptions on AliExpress. Roborock S6 VMAX V is definitely a good comparison for this device if you look at the specifications. And again, like I mentioned, if you look at the suction power, this actually succeeds the S6 VMAX V. I would say the Roborock S6 has, let's say, some more flashy gimmicks within the app in how it shows you using the camera things that you might should move around in your house, and also the ability to remote control it, actually viewing through the camera's eyes. But again, that's kind of more on the gimmicky side of things, and this, I would say, is a more no-nonsense device where you just get some of the best features and sensors out there on the market, but not the more flashy, gimmicky things like on the S6. One of the things that I quickly noticed with this device was that it was actually super quiet compared to some of the other devices I'm either testing or have as sort of a permanent part of my smart home. Of course, you can turn up the volume like I've shown in the app, but you don't need to do for many instances. And if it's either running on the quiet or normal mode, it's actually fairly quiet, and I don't have a problem in using it while I'm at home, which is something I seldomly do with the other devices that I either have or have been testing, because they can get quite noisy. But this one is actually quite quiet, so yeah, really positive to see that they have been working on that side of things. Going back to the features about the sensors, you can really tell that when this device is running around, that it is indeed using these sensors to its maximum capacity. I notice the small things like it's not bumping into floor panels and stuff like that, and that will sort of help keep your house more nice looking over time, because the older generations of robot vacuum cleaners, that even though they just ever so gently bump into the floor panels, that will over time leave scratch marks, and this one does not do that like I've shown in the demo. And that's again something that over time will give you an advantage, because again, you won't need to do this small repainting of floor panels, because again, it's very, very gentle to those and pretty much avoids them. In terms of drawback, the only really thing I've been able to come up with for this device is I would have liked to see the addition of a mat to place under the docking station when you use the wet mop attachments and it returns to the dock. Because again, sometimes you will get a little bit of, let's say, leakage from the remaining water that is on the wet mop once it returns to the dock. But that's really the only drawback that I've been able to find, and it's a small one. I've been testing a lot of robot vacuum cleaners during the last 2 years, and this is definitely one of the ones that are sticking out the most positive. If you look at the price compared to how many features you get, you pretty much get everything on the most advanced list currently, with a very few exceptions. But the price is very much in the budget range of things. So that's very impressive that Dreame have been able to do this with this price that they are selling this unit at. So again, that makes it quite easy for me to give a solid recommendation, because again, there are very few minor drawbacks to this device. Really, yeah, I can't come up with much complaint about this. Should you have any questions or comments, just leave them in the comment section. I'll try to answer them as always. Else, I hope you guys have a great summer, and I'll see you in another video.